interactive talk program right here on 102.7. That's on the FM band, and 1300 AM. That's on the AM band. Of course, we come to you every Wednesday afternoon at 5 when we have an interactive discussion with whoever our guest is. And today is going to be interesting simply because something that I was involved in or is involved in would be part of the discussion, and you may hear some questions be tossed to me, of which I'm sure I'll be more than happy to answer. I'm not accustomed to that end of the bargain, but in any case, this might just be what it is. Before I tell you more as to what it's all about and who is with me, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll jump straight into it. Okay, folks, welcome back. And if you're doing the ride home or maybe heading out to work, whichever way, it is drive time, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And of course, that is exactly when you're behind your wheel, maybe going to work or in any case, heading home in whichever way you're heading. It's good to have you with us and you'll be able to follow along. Gramey Browne is here with me. And of course, for those of you who don't know, we have just with him and I, in the sense that he just co-authored a book that I have made available to the general public of St.Maarten called Constitution of St.Maarten. And because of the importance of this important piece of our body of text and how it relates to us, knowing the connection between us and our government and vice versa, it's always good that what your civic obligation is to government and what is your government responsibility is to you. So I've invited Gramey Browne in, who assisted me with the production of this book, and I'm sure happy to have him. And hopefully you can learn something today, folks, about civic knowledge. With that said, let me just welcome Mr. Browne to spend the rest of the afternoon with me, and good afternoon to you, Gramey.
Thank you,
I don't
Mr.
even know how
Moore.
to handle this, to be honest with you,
You're
simply
really
because at a given point, I know that I'm going to have to yield because you're going to ask me some questions.
Yes.
And I'll be more than happy to give the reasons why I determined that something like this should be in every home on St.Maarten.
This is where now the apprentice has rise to question the master.
The apprentice has right. I really wouldn't say that I'm the master. But I don't take this too lightly because I feel when I sit here, I have a responsibility to dissect, break down, make simple the information that we are distributing or broadcasting to our listening audience is as palatable and as simple as possible. They can get their mind around it, and when we are finished, they have gained something rather than being confused or someone else has been so much in the discussion and in the limelight to the point that you missed what the purpose of this platform is supposed to do. So I'm yielding myself to something that I'm really not accustomed to, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I'll deal with that.
We're all friends. We're just having a conversation.
Yeah, I would say. So let me start, please. I want to thank you so much for the assistance you gave for me to make the Constitution of St.Maarten available to everyone. And I want folks to know that just looking at the book itself, looking at the cover, it actually tells you something that is very deep. This looked like it relates to me. Actually, on the cover, what you're seeing on the cover is the coat of arms for St.Maarten. I think too long it has been somewhat obscured. People are not really gravitating to it because for whatever reason, it's just not in the limelight the way it should. And I think every child should be able to explain the coat of arms of St.Maarten because that has the driving force to build cultural identity and love for country, and these symbols like the flag and the anthem and the coat of arms, they're supposed to play a role to make sure that people understand what they're relating to and how it relates to them. So I'm happy to make that available and make it a talking point.
Right.
Because when you pick up the book, that's the first thing you see, the coat of arms. Something is written on there.
So before you continue, because you're still doing you haven't yielded yet.
Well, the thing is, I'm so accustomed to my role that is very difficult to relinquish.
So
go ahead. Yeah.
We're going to start from the beginning, right?
Yeah.
So you have always talked about the Constitution of St. Maarten. And I've heard you always say that there's not a lot of civic teaching in schools. And that with the Constitution, everyone should actually know it. Mm-hmm. And they should have a copy of it in their back pocket, right? Mm-hmm. So this is the creation of this. Give me some more information on, I must say, give the people some more information as to the final push to really get this going, and based on the passion of yours of making sure that every St. Maartener could have one in there.
Yeah, I wonder if there is a final push other than the work that went into it to make it happen. But I felt the urge for I came through, I must let it be known that I came through the educational system of St. Maarten, not necessarily in the cultural aspect, but in the most of my teaching was along the line of hospitality and how we need to deliver an intangible product such as the service we give. And when you say an intangible product, I'm talking about something that varies day by day, because intangible as service is, it have a lot to do with how you feel.
How the customer feel at the end of the service being granted.
On a given day.
Yeah.
Even the person who is delivering the service.
Exactly.
On a given day, they need to understand that it doesn't matter what you feel like. You have an obligation to give this hospitable service to the people and just deliver it. And then you deal with your personal issues after. Yeah. You know? So I was more along that line. But teaching is always teaching.
Yes, of course.
And this project of the Constitution, I felt that when I look at the political dimensions and the activities around it, I think if we had only know enough about what our constitutional rights are, we will function a little bit different. So I felt there was a need for us to make this available, although it's available online, Gramey. Anybody can go online and find it. But it's another story, and it's a win-win for me, as I mentioned in the preamble. It's a win-win when you have a booklet that embodies all of it, so you can make reference from time to time and refresh your mind of what your constitutional rights are and what government constitutional obligation to you really is. So that was the push.
Right.
That I reached to the point where I decided, if nothing else, I should do this. But I was more than happy when you make yourself available to give that assistance so it could have happened. And so I'm thankful.
Appreciate that. Mm-hmm. Both of our names is on it. Now, the cover of it, the colors, because I've seen there are different constitutional books available.
Yeah.
This one is, and not because, I don't like to toot my own horn, but this one that we worked on, I think, is more eye-grabbing. It's more distinctive. It looks like a constitutional book and not just like a regular book. How do you feel the simplistic design, but also the importance of the iconic St. Maarten symbol that's in the center of it?
You know what I've noticed since the books arrived, and I've already said to many people that I'm about to do this project, and pretty soon the books would be available. And I began working with them from the moment they arrived, and I've been doing the groundwork to be able to make it available to everyone via the businesses in St. Maarten that are related to books, that sells books. So I have to have the product with me in order to do the groundwork. And as a result, I've shared it with other people. And there are people who you think would be least interested in the book is showing interest. And I'm like trying to figure out, why would they? And for some reason, one person, just today, one person said, it looks like something that is saying something to me. And really it should, because what's on the cover, folks, for those of you who have not seen the book just yet, is
I'm holding up to the screen, the coat of arms.
The coat of arms.
And you know, people always say, don't judge the book by the cover. Yeah. Except we do.
Yeah. and
you know.
And this is exactly what I noticed. Yeah. People seeing the book, it's like, it's as if it's speaking to them.
That's what it's supposed to do.
And that's what it's supposed to do. On the cover, folks, let me just jump ahead of Gramey. I don't know what he want to ask me, but...
Yeah, well, my next question, if you would let me ask it, the coat of arms. Can you please explain the coat of arms?
Now, the coat of arms is something that we are not supposed to take lightly. We're not supposed to take lightly. If we want to build national pride in our people and love for country, there are three important symbols, and they happen to be in the very first article of the Constitution, which is the coat of arms, the national flag, and the national anthem. I wonder if you could make it simple for my listening audience to realize that if you have ever watched, let's say, a football match or any kind of sports, and you see people who have made quite an achievement or have even won their country anything, you see them always hang on to the crest and either kiss it or...
They have the flag, they're waving the flag.
Even the flag, yes. Yeah. All of those things is showing national pride. Pride for country. Love for my country. Love for self.
Something bigger than yourself.
Yeah. So on the cover, the coat of arms is what hits you straight in the face. And there is an important message on the coat of arms. Well, many. Because on the coat of arms, there are some symbols as well, which is the national flower, which is the yellow sage. It has the border monument, which signifies that there are two open border.
Two states.
You have the courthouse, which is an important image.
It's a symbol of Phillipsburg.
Exactly. Not just Phillipsburg, of St. Maarten, because, more people take pictures of that courthouse than anything else.
Because it used to be a post office too as well.
Yes, it was a long time ago. Yeah. So in the coat of arms, folks, these are the images that are on it. The border monument, the yellow sage, the courthouse, and the national bird of St. Maarten, which is the pelican.
And the sun in the
background for sunshine. Yeah. Okay. And then there's an inscription on it that says, Semper pro Gredines. And
that is a Latin words.
Yeah, it's a Latin phrase actually that was used. Don't ask me how it all started, why the decision was made to use it, but it has to signify something about St. Maarten and the people of St. Maarten.
It has a meaning.
That's right.
And that meaning, again, these words are very old words. Because when you think of the language Latin,
it's
a very old language. It's all the way from the Roman Empire, right? So now we see it here today on our crest. What does it mean in English?
Yeah, well, a free translation of the Latin words is always for semper pro, always for Grenadines walking, always for walking. But when you put that in contemporary English, you want to think that it means, well,
Yeah.
always for walking?
Translation is not word for word. It is the context.
That's right. And the theme
Yeah.
that it represents for St. Maarten. And it's simply
So I would say
always
moving
on the
forward,
move,
or always on the move.
always
right?
on the go,
Yeah. Always progressing.
always moving.
Yeah.
So this is an important lesson for anyone who's listening and didn't actually pay attention to what's there. And I think that is a wonderful way to start and to grab your attention and get you into the body of what the Constitution
And
is all
to be
about.
honest with you, only when I started working on this project with you that I learned
Uh-huh.
all these things that you're saying, because I didn't know it prior. I know the courthouse, I know the monument, I know the bird, but I didn't know the rest of it.
Okay, the symbol you knew, but the details around it,
and
and
the
all of them
meaning,
are
yes.
there. All of them are there for a reason.
Yes.
Because it
absolutely.
speaks of us from St. Maarten. And that's why we need to have that embedded in us. We should know that. We should be able to explain that to
every
anyone.
school child is
Yeah.
supposed to be able to know this by heart.
Correct.
It should be a must. Now, when you go below, we played around with the names and where they should be and how they should be. And I don't know if you realize, because I didn't tell you about it. Do you realize what it looks like below?
Or the flag.
Exactly.
Yeah, it really does
Yeah.
look like
So
the
and
blue,
the red, white,
the
and
red,
blue.
and the white. Yes. Mhm.
And that's why the book talks to you, because images matter, right? They represent a conversation. Well, that's why there's flashes that comes across your screen. They have the short reels at 30 seconds and the short form content. And it grabs
By the
you.
way, that was thoughtful because I really didn't think of that and see the connection with the colors in the
And
flag.
we went through this about 5 times with the designer, and I thought about having the names as red, white, and blue, but there were only 2 names. So therefore, you're missing a color,
So
right? And therefore, I used the
Uh,
color
white.
background.
Yes.
Exactly. For the red, white, and blue, with the white separating the 2 names.
Yeah.
And so you have, so the cover itself represents St. Maarten on a whole.
And that's why it
Yeah.
speaks to
It
even
speaks to
anyone
exactly.
who see it. You know, a book is a book. We have a tendency these days to have little interest in books and even reading. But when a book and its cover, you said that a little bit earlier that some people usually live on the premise of don't take a book by its cover.
But
But this one grabs you, man.
We do judge the book by
Yeah.
the cover in every way, because once we see the cover, it creates the interest.
Yes.
And then when we grab the cover, the first thing we do after we grab the book in our hands is we turn it over
Yeah.
to see what's on the back. Before we open it, it's a funny move.
Yeah. But guess what? And everything there is also related to the whole concept. The Constitution of St. Maarten stands as the foundational legal document of this Caribbean nation within the kingdom of the Netherlands. You're holding it so far away from me. My eyes ain't all that good. I'm not that young.
I'm going to come a little closer. Actually,
No, that's good.
yeah.
So you have me stumbling in the reading.
So you can have this.
All
I
right.
have one over.
Okay, it says actually the Constitution of St. Maarten stands as the foundational legal document of this Caribbean nation within the Kingdom of the Netherlands, adopted in 2010, following St. Maarten's transition to country status. And this Constitution establishes the framework for democratic governance, fundamental rights, and the rule of law. So this is important information to help people understand the importance
Of the Constitution.
of the Constitution.
Now, when you open it, we got into the book, we thought that we should each have a note. We should each provide something beside the Constitution. And I just want to make everyone understand. We didn't write the Constitution. We published the Constitution.
Yes.
You know, and publish it. And there's a preface that you wrote as a journalist and a broadcaster, which I was very definitely impressed, because I couldn't even add anything to it. I couldn't even add one. That's why I didn't come up with one for myself, because this just said it all. And there's so much passion in this for you. Can you read the first paragraph so that people can understand your passion in actually on this project?
Well, a preface in a book, usually you would get someone who understands what you're doing, understand your work, and can make sense of why this project and how it should relate to whoever would decide to read it. So I figured that instead of asking someone to do this, because the project was between you and I decided, I'll write the preface. And it says that I'm pleased to have birthed the idea of putting the Constitution of St.Maarten in booklet form, making it readily accessible to everyone because of its importance. It is clear that there is not enough, and I want to make sure, because I know some folks would disagree with that statement, but I think we can teach more civic lessons in our schools. Whatever little we're doing is not enough. Hence the reason why all my statement that I made regarding the coat of arms, which is on the cover, is so important, because our children should know that from first on the go.
Yeah.
They should be able to explain that anytime.
Everyone should be able to say,
So I mentioned that there's not enough civic education that is taught in our school system, and I know that is disputable. You can have a difference of opinion, and it is respected. And therefore, and this therefore hinders our citizens, for those who don't have the advantage of getting enough civic education, it hinders our advantage for having a learned knowledge of our governmental structure, which would help us understand the relationship that should exist between government and people in a democracy.
And we have come so numb because we are used to
certain habits.
Yeah. And that has become the norm. And I say all the time, in the 80-20 rule, whatever 80% of the people do becomes a norm. It doesn't make it right, but it becomes a norm.
Yeah.
And the 20% just become the anomaly. And if 80% of the people would know their rights and can challenge their leaders, their politicians, it will force us to have a better nation, because they are accountable to us.
Yeah, they won't take you for granted.
Exactly.
Because you have a knowledge of what is expected of them.
Okay, and that's what makes a nation better. Yes. Because they are a government of the people, for the people, and by the people.
There's something that comes to mind too as well. An informed community make informed decisions. And if you have that information, if you're knowledgeable of what your constitutional rights and privileges are, you know where you stand.
And you can challenge your leaders.
Those leaders got to know how far they can go as well.
Yeah. And you can challenge them on the merit of the Constitution.
Yeah.
Not on your opinion, but... Okay, and then we had a second page, which is what I did, because I couldn't even come close to what you was doing. So we have St.Maarten at a glance. And that was done specifically in case any non-St.Maartener tourists, if this book is on the airport and they pick up the book, even if they were just here on a cruise ship for one day, there's a lot of St.Maarten they may not have grasped. And if they got this book in their hands, so you have to make sure you get it at the shops at the harbor, for sure. And so they can, any tourist can actually just pick this up and say, okay, a glance at St.Maarten, it's 37 square miles. The island is divided between St.Maarten, Dutch part, encompasses the southern 16 square miles of the island, while St.Maarten, French part, occupies the northern 21 square miles. And for some reason, I used to say St. Maarten is 17 square miles. It's actually 16. Yeah.
That's right.
It's 16 square miles, not 17. You know, official languages.
The seven has a lot to do with the entire 37 square miles. So don't get confused.
Yeah.
To put the 7
For
in
some
front
reason,
of the 1.
I think I always used to hear people say 17, and I was like, I think it was 16, but maybe it's 17. And so with doing this book, like all of this stuff was just now right in my head.
Well, made right.
Yeah.
Your head, what was in your head now made right.
Exactly.
Because the French part is 21 square miles and the southern part is 16 square miles. That makes it 37 in total.
And then I looked up a lot of the historical information.
Okay.
The Treaty
That
of
supported
Concordia,
it.
that supported all the information. And we have cultural diversity, home of over 100 nationalities, making St. Maarten one of the most culturally diverse places in the Caribbean. You know, historical timelines. Christopher Columbus, 1493, Dutch established their permanent settlement and built Fort Amsterdam in 1631. And the Treaty of Concordia was done in 1648. Dutch Caribbean islands were first brought under collective administration as an unified political entity, which was in 1845. And in 1954, the Netherlands Antilles was officially established. I never knew that.
Yeah.
I didn't know when it started. I just grew up being part of the Netherlands Antilles.
That's when the agreement went into place and they became a separate nation in the kingdom.
In the kingdom.
But of 6 islands.
6 islands, yes. And then 10-10-10, St. Maarten became an autonomous country within the Kingdom of the Netherlands when the Netherlands was dissolved. So this is information at a glance that any visitor can just pick up this book and not only get the Constitution, but get a glance of the island.
But it also serves for reference for our very own people.
Of course.
Of the historical landmark comes all the way up to today. So it's not just for the foreigner or the visitor who would then be informed about this historical step by step of what St. Maarten and the Dutch part of the Caribbean kingdom is all about, but also for us as reference. If for whatever reason in your mind you can't remember when these things take place, here's the book.
It's right in the book, yeah. And for other reference, we are the smallest twin island nation in the world.
Yes.
There's Hispaniola.
You have that in the unique distinction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unique distinction.
Yes.
World's smallest island shared. St. Maarten is the smallest island in the world to be shared by 2 sovereign nations. And Hispaniola is Dominican Republic and Haiti.
Yes.
You know, and we are the second, but the smallest in the Caribbean that, you know, 2 island nation state on 1 island.
Let me get a break in here.
Sure.
And give the heroes an opportunity to get their breath together, and we'll come right back and continue all that you need to know about the Constitution of St. Maarten and the booklet. And that is available for everyone to have here on St. Maarten. Let's take a break quickly and come back. Okay, welcome back to our discussion. I'm here with Gramey Browne, who is the co-author of the book Constitution of St. Maarten, along with yours truly, of course. And I'm so happy that we can have this available for the people of St. Maarten to be knowledgeable of the Constitution and have it for a reference when it comes to them being able to refresh their memory, because I think there was something else that was left out before we get to the preamble, because the preamble, I often use it at the start of my program, Gramey. Yeah. And I do that because it does serve and give us a consciousness of our political status and our situation as a country in the Kingdom of the Netherlands. And this is something that we should always be aware of, because in my preface, I think I mentioned that when we have that in our minds, and I was even advocating for our legislature or MPs, elected officials, if they could, they usually start their deliberations when they're having public meetings with a moment of silence. I was saying, instead of a moment of silence, because you don't know what's racing through their head at a moment of silence. Some of them are probably don't even worrying about where they're at and the reverence that they should have in such a position where they're representing all the people of St. Maarten. But if they could just recite this and have that resident in their head, the preamble, I think it would do them justice. Yeah, because it speaks of we the people. Let's revert back to that other area.
So to remind everyone, the book is not a book that we didn't write this book, but we put the Constitution, the actual translation from the original Dutch language that it was written into English. And this translation was issued on the 20th of December in 2010. The Minister of General Affairs at the time, she's now the chair lady of Parliament, S.A. Sarah Westcott Williams.
Yeah.
And this is just inserted within the book, and we just have a couple of pages in front and the back.
Yes.
And we kind of put some unique distinctions of St. Maarten, and one of them, because I drive Uber when I'm in Florida, and when people ask where I'm from, because they hear the accent, I say I'm from St. Maarten. And for those who don't know, I say, which is one of our famous things, one of the things that we're famous for. I said, do you ever see...
That's what everybody knows.
Yeah. I said, do you ever see a plane, seems like it's landing on the beach? And they're like, yeah. It's like, well, that's St. Maarten, right? So in here I put famous. So we're the world's smallest island, twin nation island. We are famous airport, Princess Juliana International Airport, is the world's renowned for plane flying extremely low over Maho Beach, right? We're known for that. The Friendly Island, St. Maarten is officially nicknamed, reflecting its welcoming spirit and open trade policies, the Friendly Island. Duty-free paradise. We are one of the few Caribbean islands that is still duty-free. Not just duty-free for export, we're duty-free on the island itself. Where anywhere you go to buy anything, so declared a duty-free port, boosting its economy and making it a shopping destination. And no border controls. You can freely move between Dutch and French side of the island without borders.
Yeah. And that information is just added information that would help to give people the feeling of what St. Maarten
and it's
is
a conversation
really all
piece.
about. Yeah.
Because you've been to St. Maarten. Do you know that there's two island nations with no border controls, and you just freely go over and over and over, you know? And so it's a very very unique project that we could have worked on. And when we go to the back on the book, I added a thank you note. Well, I'm gonna say we, because this one is joint. I added the thank you, and we did the acknowledgement. So
that's page
79.
Okay.
79. And the book is only 5 by 8, so it's a very small book. I've seen the document, and it's the original you sent me is printed on like 4 pages, and it's so big. And so that's why when you look at the book, it's a size 13 font. So just so people know, you do not have to struggle to read this Constitution. It's very, very easy to read. It's easy
in the eye.
Yeah. And even the alpha characters is very simple categorized, that it's just easy to read, you know. And if you need glasses, then you need glasses. But if you don't need glasses, you also don't have to close your eyes to kind of filter out anything. It's right there. So what is the goal now? Now that you have the book, what is the action? What are you doing? Where are the books available? And what's the prices?
The logistics of making it available to everyone via the you're supposed to do one leg, which is the library. It has to be
the books is already at the library.
Okay.
I took them there last week, and they are available for rent. Only hardbacks.
Okay.
So you have hardbacks and you have paperback.
Oh yeah, that we didn't mention that at all in today's program.
Yeah.
There is the paperback version, and that goes for $12, and the hardback is $20.
It's $20.
Yeah, hardcover. We call it hardback.
Hardcover is $20 $20 and the paperback is 12. Now, where can they get them? So they can borrow it from the library.
And I'm currently working on the logistics. I've already attended, not attended, but I visited the outlets thus far to find out what the agreement, how the agreement would work.
Okay.
And I'm busy by the end of this week. They're going to be ready, at least for Van Dorp and also for the Christian bookstore in Phillipsburg. Okay. And there are others. I don't want to leave anyone out.
No, you need to have
so I need to make sure
Richardson,
Adolphus Richardson and
Anya Bookstore.
That's the one in Kulsak. Yeah.
You know.
So all of these is yet to finalize.
Okay.
Because I didn't realize it was that much work.
Oh no! you also need a consignment.
I have to make those stuff.
You need a consignment document, which I'll give you mine. I'll give you a copy of mine, and then you can use that for the book
make
consignment.
It easy. Yeah. But I'm working on that so it would be available to everyone at their own leisure, whenever they feel like it's time for them to get their copy and have it in their own personal library at home, so that they don't necessarily. But at present, if you can reach to me, I would be able to get you an autographed copy, and I think you will cherish that even more.
Yes.
If you value the thought or the very idea of making such a document available for every home.
And I brought my copies here because I have to give them to my staff, and I want my staff to have them with both signatures in them.
Okay.
My signature is already there. So I need your signature.
But I'm happy. I'm happy that the idea came and it was able to materialize, because sometimes we think of things and we go no farther than thinking of it. Yeah. And I believe there was something else that was on my mind when it comes to books. We have a lot of people who have left St.Maarten, died, and have passed on, and have done so with a lot of information about St.Maarten that, I mean, it's so treasure. My next book is going to be called Bush Road.
Bush Road. Well, that is what, I know you've heard me say it before. Generational wealth is wealth of information passed from one generation
into the next. I was so engraved into Bush Road. Bush Road was so much a part of me because in my first stages of my existence on St.Maarten, it was Bush Road. My uncle lived there. Everyone lived there. I've seen it grown from nothing to what it is right now, all the way up to the Daily Herald. And I just know just about everyone who built on that, because that's where I grew up.
Okay.
That's the area that I knew the most. And the idea of Bush Road came in my head. If I have to write anything about St.Maarten otherwise than this in my next project, it's going to be called Bush Road.
Okay.
And for good reason. I was about to make the point that a lot of times we think things and don't do. So I'm happy that we were able to materialize this project. And I think everyone should, despite how you feel about me or Gramey or anyone else, the information is so vital that everyone should try to make it a point of duty. And you're doing it for your children as well.
For yourself and your children.
And your children, that it's available for them. It's there.
Yeah, so in doing this is my first collaboration book that my name is on. There was a local young man, I gave him some pointers on the book, and I helped him. I didn't put my name on it. I just showed him the way. I did some work, put the information out, and basically gave some improvements to what he already had. And this is the first full project that I've done. So this is proof now that I could do this in collaboration. And I already had a few people already ask me for collaboration. I'm like, yeah, we'll work on it.
Well, I think I was more taking advantage of what you have already established in the many books that you kept producing. I'm like, yeah, aren't you going to stop? and I said, well, maybe I can, because I had other options for this project. And I want to thank the former governor of St.Maarten, Mr. Franklin Richards, who did everything to push me towards the Constitution because of the knowledge that I would gain in terms of, and he was more focusing in his dealing with yours truly. And I must not forget this gentleman who, Mr. Groeneveld, he has already since passed, God bless him. He also was very helpful in helping me to understand a lot behind the Constitution. Mr. Richards, what he did, he actually pointed more towards the motivation, which is called the explanatory notes behind the Constitution. So for every article, there's a reason why this article is important.
It's important.
And it's in the explanatory notes. And he was the one who drove me to that. Make sure that I had copies and showed me how to find it online, the whole 9 yards. And that was way back when. And I want to give him some credit for having pushed me, because a lot of people don't know that I didn't just pick this up because I was a journalist. I have been familiar with the political status of St.Maarten and its growth and development.
Okay.
And this only strengthened my knowledge of what is our obligation towards government versus government obligation towards its people. Yeah. And I think it is something that we shouldn't hide from the citizens. Hence, the reason why I put so much emphasis on it. And I'm thankful that I'm beginning to see the fruits of it, having produced the Constitution.
And if people have this, I think as the more people that have it and the more people that read it, I think it could actually influence the way they vote, because it will identify which politicians and parties are basically failing in their duties to the people of St.Maarten.
As per their Constitution.
As per the Constitution, not as per an opinion, but as per the actual Constitution, as to what they're supposed to do versus what they are doing or what they have done.
And with this knowledge, as citizens, it forces them to be aware that people know when we are making the right step or making the right move or making the right decisions, because they're familiar with the Constitution, your constitutional duty and their constitutional rights. If they don't, they just pull all kind of wolves over our faces.
And this is where you don't have to think, you don't have to believe. If you know the Constitution, now you actually know where they are failing. Yeah. And not thinking where they are failing or believing where they are failing, but you know they are failing, and you have a reference to tell them, hey, the Constitution, Article 129 says, you know.
And the thing is, and we must bring this into as well, because they are good defenders of the truth, or the lack of it, or
they're politicians.
The lack of it. They can defend themselves, and they're quick to do so.
You know,
but they are very much reserved when they're dealing with somebody who is knowledgeable of what their constitutional duties are.
And some of them don't even answer the question. I have a poll that I normally take, and I do questions from a dating advice, right? And I ask women, would you date an ex-con? And then the next question is, would you date a politician?
Yeah.
And I can tell you, the two answers are not the same.
Could never be. Could never be.
Seriously. And which one do you think they say yes to?
An ex-con?
Yeah. There's more no's to dating a politician than to dating an ex-convict.
No, the way you ask the question forces me to say that an ex-con.
But it's the truth, yeah.
Because a politician would be more likely the popular. Yeah, but
it's populous, but in a relationship, one of the foundation of a relationship is trust.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't know.
People trust the ex-con.
You don't know the ex-con. It's pretty much like you, because we all have a heart for doing the wrong things.
And they've done the wrong thing. They have been convicted of the wrong thing.
Yes.
So they served their time.
Yes.
And now they're back to do better as a second chance.
That's right.
The politician,
that's how they maintain. That's how they continue their survival.
Exactly. And
but there's a price to pay as well when you are truthful and live up to your commitment as a politician. Your price often is rejection until people realize how much you have done on their behalf to continue supporting them.
Support, yeah. And so when you have this continuous support,
Yes.
you know that
That's your strength.
exactly, you're doing the right thing.
Yes.
You have a proof of concept, and people understand that proof of concept
Yeah.
and keep giving you more chances.
Speaking of politicians, is it true then that some of them start out with good intentions and good ideas until they get involved
Oh yeah,
and get elected, and then they start dodging and
bad behavior is learned, right? Everyone is born innocent, and then you grow up and you look at children. They don't learn anything about race and color and hate and all of that when they're 2 and 3 and 4. But as they get older, it's like the older you get, you start learning these bad behavior, bad habits. And habit forming is the foundation of who you become. So you build all these bad habits. And so they get these good intention, and then they get elected. And then when they get into the circle on the table, all these bad habits that's all around them, right? It's either you're gonna be the one that stands out by not conforming, or you're gonna make yourself at home.
So how would you then respond to one who's going to say that description is not for me?
I mean, you're either being the change you want, or you're not. And they can say it, but actions speak louder than words.
Yeah, but even though the action is right there, blaring in front of your eyes, they wouldn't agree. They
wouldn't agree. So now we have the Constitution that we can look at the article and said, well, Article 101, by national decree, rules shall be laid down in order to secure the lawful and integrity of the administration and the administrative action and the soundness of financial management.
And you just pull the book open and read that.
I just
for the sake
open
of
the page.
Addressing an article.
Exactly. And it happens to be that one. And
no, but there are other important things in the article as well,
of course,
from which we can judge them. Yeah. If you go to Article 41. 41.
I'm at 41.
What it says?
On accepting appointment, ministers take the following
oath
of office, declaring an affirmation by the governor.
Yeah, and the oath of office is what we're getting at, because they are swearing. I first declare that I have not given or promised anything to anyone whosoever, directly or indirectly, under any name or pretext whatsoever, in connection with obtaining my appointment as minister, and nor shall I do so. And I swear and affirm that I shall not accept any pledge or gift of any description from any person whatsoever, directly or indirectly, in order to take or refrain from any action of any description in this position. I swear and affirm my loyalty to the King and the Charter of the Kingdom, that I shall also help to uphold
the
Constitution of St.Maarten, and shall support the welfare of St.Maarten to the best of my ability, so help me God. Now, this is a declaration that they have to swear when they are going into office. How much of this is upheld?
And then once they get into the office,
it's a different story. These are pointers where you can hold them accountable for the way they conduct themselves and whether they are really true representatives on behalf of the people.
Yeah. And I often say, politics is special interest. That's what it is.
You call it special interest, but I've had a conversation with a gentleman who, by the way, he really appreciated the fact that we were able to put this book together. He got his copy to Mr. Julio Romney, who is very much versed in government and policies, the whole 9 yards. And he always say that our people suffer because our politicians serve their personal interests rather than the public interest. And this is not good information for them to absorb and embrace. I know they're going to feel very uneasy about it, but the truth is what it is. If it helps them to shape their performance in the way it should,
then that's
good.
And it's great for us, and it's also better
Good
for
for
them.
them.
Because you see plenty of them now are ending up in jail.
And you see, and that doesn't signal the right thing.
And
we must be able to trust them.
Exactly. And that has a rippling effect on the ones who are currently sitting and the ones who will sit in the future.
Yeah.
Because the past tells you where we are, and the present dictates where we're going to go. And while government has always been a great redistributor of wealth, that wealth is supposed to be redistributed throughout the economy, so that all of us have the opportunity to build wealth from our country.
There's an article in here that says the government is responsible to make sure that the wealth trickles down to the to the citizens.
The citizens.
Yes.
Not through a couple of their friends and the special interest groups.
Yeah.
So
and hence the reason why we think that more could have been done to make sure that the minimum wage to which most companies hold themselves to when taking care of people who they have given jobs should, because they're not going to on their own decide, they deserve more, let me give them more.
no,
They're going to yoke themselves to what the law says we can pay you. And in this day and age,
I've
with things being
always
the way it
said,
is.
I've always said to people that you have to work your way out of the minimum wage. But the government also has a responsibility. I think we should have like a 5 or 10 year plan where we say, okay, every 2 years or every year we're gonna raise the minimum wage by this and that, because in 5 years or 10 years we want to be at this number. I think the minimum wage should be at around $1,500 take home pay. We can't do it all in one jump, but it should be scaled. There should be a plan where they say in what are we in 2026
26.
by 2030, because we I don't know how much it is an hour, but I know in 500 on a 1 month basis. I don't know the breakdown. It's probably about maybe $2 an hour more, or maybe even less than that. But we can say by 2030 we're gonna have the minimum wage to $1,500.
$100.
And so everyone can start already planning and preparing and everything. And then when we get there, because that's what they did in Sabre Station in the best islands.
Yes.
And
They
why
they
can't
slowly, they didn't
Right.
make one heavy jump. They slowly bring it to where it is at this moment.
And they already set where it's going to end up. And that's what leadership is, making the plan. So this is where we're going to go. This is how we're going to get there. And our leaders, if they're as good as they say they are, we're supposed to notice that leadership in them, where they set the long-term goal and set the path of how to get there.
But instead, and I'm hearing my music, so it tells
Well,
me
at the time-
we're getting
We're just
close to
starting to get
finishing.
good
here. But with the pace of how expensive things are becoming, I find if we don't have that plan just yet, it's putting more and more pressure on our people to even not only get out of poverty, but keeping you more in poverty.
You stay in the loop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not sufficient. It's hard, but it's a hard saying. But you gotta
this
accept
island can pay for itself. We have the resources to pay for itself.
Yeah.
But it takes leadership and management.
Yeah.
And if those two can come together, we the people are going to do our part.
Yeah.
But the leaders and the managers has to do theirs. The one set of people where trickle-down economics work is government.
Yeah.
And when they fail, it doesn't get trickled down.
No. So what's your final thoughts on having worked on this project?
I am happy to have been a part of it, and I made every effort to make sure we could execute it. This is the first paperback book of less than 100 pages, and that's one of the other reasons I increased the fund to have our name back on the spleen of the book. All right, and we have the hardcover and the paperback. And we're going to make sure we have it in all the stores. Well, you're going to make sure you have it in all the stores. Because the distribution is
in my hands.
Yes. And I'll definitely give you my book consignment page. And then you can fill in your information and get it in all of the bookstores.
Well, folks, those of you who are with us all the way, that's you have it right straight in front of you, and I'm happy to be part of it. And we will, you know what, talk some more about that when we get there, I guess. And I'm a little awkward today because I had a transaction with Gramey that is not usual, but I'm happy to have been able to share this project with you. Thanks a lot for listening and for watching, those on Facebook, those on the live stream, and those of you who watch or listening by way of radio. Thank you so much for your support for this program and for what we are doing. We'll be back again next Wednesday afternoon, so I'm extending an invitation for you to join me then. In the meantime, I want to say thank you to Gramey, and we'll see you next time on In The View. Take care.